In a world brimming with distractions and uncertainties, the question we must ask ourselves is not whether we face challenges, but rather how we choose to approach them. Too often, we find ourselves caught in a web of doubt, questioning our abilities, our purpose, and the possibilities before us. But what if I told you that the only thing truly standing in your way is the mind you've yet to change? Our minds are incredibly powerful. The thoughts we allow to linger within us are like seeds planted in the soil of our hearts. If we choose to entertain thoughts of doubt, fear, and uncertainty, we water them, and soon they take root, growing into beliefs that shape every decision we make. But if we decide to replace those thoughts with belief, confidence, and a vision of possibility, we create the conditions for growth, transformation, and success. Doubt, by its very nature, is a corrosive force. It creeps into the mind, often disguised as caution or reason, but at its core, it undermines progress. Doubt tells us that we are not capable, not worthy, or not enough. It feeds on our fears and paralyzes us into inaction. Yet, doubt is not an inevitable truth, it is a choice. Each time we find ourselves questioning our abilities or our future, we must challenge those thoughts. We must recognize that to doubt is to deny the potential that lies within us. To overcome doubt, we must cultivate faith not merely as a passive belief, but as a dynamic force that actively challenges the limitations we place on ourselves. Faith is not a vague hope that things will improve, it is the conviction that our efforts, when rooted in clarity of purpose and determination, will yield results. Faith in ourselves, in our decisions, and in our journey can transform fear into action. But faith, like any other muscle, requires exercise. It is not enough to simply acknowledge our potential, we must act on it. Every step taken with purpose, no matter how small, weakens the grip of doubt and reinforces the strength of our belief. In this we discover a fundamental truth: it is through action that we change our minds and ultimately our lives. The power of thought is one of the most profound forces in our lives, yet we often fail to recognize just how influential it truly is. Our thoughts are not just fleeting ideas or abstract notions that pass through our minds, they are the foundation of our entire experience. In fact, our minds are the architects of our reality, shaping not only how we perceive the world, but also how we interact with it. Every action we take, every decision we make, begins as a thought. It is, therefore, essential to understand that the quality of our thoughts directly impacts the quality of our lives. At the most basic level, thoughts are the seeds of our actions. What we think about, we move toward. Our thoughts direct our focus, energy, and attention. If we repeatedly entertain thoughts of fear or self-doubt, we begin to take actions that reinforce those beliefs, even unconsciously. On the other hand, when we cultivate positive, empowering thoughts, we begin to align our actions with those beliefs, and our results begin to reflect that inner shift. This is why changing our thoughts can be one of the most transformative actions we can take. The mind is a powerful tool, but it can also be easily misused if we are not intentional with it. We live in an age where external influences are constantly vying for our attention, and much of what we see and hear in the world can shape our thoughts in ways we may not fully recognize. The media, society, and even our own inner critic can plant seeds of negativity that grow over time. These external influences have a way of convincing us that we are not enough, that success is unattainable, or that failure is inevitable. When we allow these external sources to dominate our internal dialogue, we unknowingly surrender our power to shape our own destiny. But it is within our control to choose the thoughts we entertain. We are not helpless observers of our own minds. we have the ability to challenge negative or limiting thoughts and replace them with thoughts that are more in line with our true potential. Consciously choosing empowering thoughts is the first step toward creating the life we desire. This requires a level of awareness and discipline, as we must first recognize when our thoughts are working against us. It can be easy to fall into patterns of negative thinking, especially when we face setbacks or difficult situations. However, by becoming aware of these thought patterns, we can begin to change them and redirect our focus toward more positive and productive ways of thinking. One powerful tool in this process is the practice of mindfulness, which involves observing our thoughts without judgment and gently redirecting them when necessary. Through mindfulness, we can train ourselves to notice when negative thoughts arise and consciously replace them with more constructive ones. This doesn't mean we are ignoring the challenges or difficulties we face. Rather, we are choosing to focus on solutions, growth, and possibilities rather than dwelling on problems or obstacles. The power of thought also extends to our beliefs about ourselves. Our self-concept, the image we hold of ourselves in our minds, dictates how we interact with the world and how we respond to opportunities and challenges. If we believe we are capable, resourceful, and deserving of success, we will approach life with confidence and resilience. However, if we hold limiting beliefs about ourselves, believing that we are unworthy or incapable, we will subconsciously limit our own potential. Our beliefs shape our reality because they determine the actions we are willing to take and the risks we are willing to face. Therefore, it is crucial to examine the beliefs we hold about ourselves and challenge those that no longer serve us. To truly harness the power of thought, we must also recognize that our thoughts are not static. They are fluid and dynamic, constantly evolving based on the information we take in and the experiences we have. Our minds are not fixed, they are malleable and can be reshaped. This plasticity is a gift, as it means we have the ability to change our mindset at any point in our lives. No matter our past experiences or current circumstances, we can always choose to think differently and, in doing so, transform our lives. An essential aspect of shaping our thoughts involves creating a vision for our lives, a mental image of the future we desire. This vision serves as a guide for our thoughts, helping us to stay focused on our goals and aspirations. When we cultivate a clear and compelling vision, we are better able to direct our thoughts toward achieving that vision. It becomes easier to replace doubts with certainty and fear with courage, because we are no longer simply reacting to the present moment, we are actively creating the future we want. We must understand that thoughts are contagious. The people we surround ourselves with influence our thinking, for better or for worse. If we spend time with individuals who hold positive, growth-oriented thoughts, their mindset will naturally rub off on us. Conversely, if we are surrounded by negativity or defeatist thinking, it can be more difficult to maintain an empowered mindset. This is why it is so important to cultivate relationships with individuals who inspire us, challenge us, and encourage us to think bigger and act bolder. Doubt is an intrinsic part of the human experience. It's something we all encounter at various points in our lives, whether we're questioning our abilities, our decisions, or the future itself. But while doubt is a natural response to uncertainty, it can also become a formidable obstacle if left unchecked. The challenge lies in recognizing when doubt crosses the line from a momentary hesitation to a paralyzing force that hinders progress and personal growth. At its core, doubt is a form of fear. It arises when we face something unknown or unfamiliar, triggering a sense of uncertainty or insecurity. This fear often manifests as the belief that we are not capable, not good enough, or that we will fail. In these moments, doubt whispers to us that our efforts will be in vain, that we're bound to encounter failure, or that success is reserved for others. This kind of self-talk can be incredibly damaging, as it undermines confidence and prevents us from taking the necessary actions to achieve our goals. What many fail to realize is that doubt thrives in the absence of clarity and purpose. When we are unclear about what we want or why we want it, doubt has a fertile ground to take root. It feeds on our lack of confidence and takes advantage of our fear of failure. The more uncertain we are about our direction, the more likely we are to second-guess ourselves, to wonder if we're making the right choice, or to wonder if we're capable of succeeding at all. But clarity about our goals, our values, and our abilities acts as the antidote to doubt. When we have a clear vision and a strong sense of purpose, we diminish the power that doubt holds over us. One of the most common forms of doubt is self-doubt. This is when we question our abilities, our worth, or our potential. Self-doubt can emerge when we face challenges that seem beyond our control or understanding. It often arises when we compare ourselves to others, thinking they are more skilled or more deserving of success. Self-doubt can be crippling because it directly impacts our belief in our own competence. We begin to doubt whether we have the strength, intelligence, or resources needed to achieve our goals. In these moments, we forget that doubt does not reflect our reality, it reflects our perception of it. Self-doubt distorts our view of who we are and what we are capable of. It tells us we are not enough, but in truth we possess far more potential than we often give ourselves credit for. Another form of doubt is doubt in the future. This occurs when we question the outcomes of our efforts or wonder if we're making the right decision. When faced with a significant life choice, we often look to the future with apprehension, unsure of whether the path we are taking will lead to success or failure. It's easy to get lost in the what ifs. What if I fail? What if I'm not making the right choice? What if things don't work out as planned? This form of doubt can be paralyzing because it prevents us from making decisions and taking action. We become so consumed by the fear of the unknown that we choose inaction over progress. The irony, however, is that inaction is often the greatest cause of failure. By not making decisions, we rob ourselves of the opportunity to learn, grow, and ultimately succeed. Doubt can also stem from external sources, such as the opinions of others or societal pressures. We live in a world where everyone seems to have an opinion on how we should live our lives, what we should achieve, and when we should achieve it. When we are constantly surrounded by external voices, it becomes easy to doubt our own judgment and second-guess our decisions. These external sources can plant seeds of uncertainty that grow into full-blown doubt. Perhaps it's a family member telling you that your dream is too risky, or a colleague suggesting that your goals are unrealistic. These outside voices can amplify our internal doubts, making it even harder to trust ourselves. One of the most dangerous aspects of doubt is that it reinforces itself. The more we doubt ourselves, the more we question our decisions, and the more we hesitate, the more difficult it becomes to move forward. Doubt often leads to a cycle of indecision and fear. We doubt our abilities, so we procrastinate, and then because we procrastinate, we start to doubt even more. This cycle keeps us stuck in a state of inaction, preventing us from making progress and achieving the things we desire. Overcoming doubt requires an intentional effort to shift our mindset. First and foremost, we must recognize that doubt is a choice. It may arise naturally, but it is not something we must accept as an inevitable part of our reality. We have the ability to challenge and change it. One of the most powerful ways to combat doubt is through affirmations, positive statements that reinforce our belief in ourselves and our abilities. Another crucial step is to take action in spite of doubt. It is important to understand that doubt doesn't disappear simply by wishing it away. It is through action that we diminish its power. By taking small, deliberate steps toward our goals, we begin to prove to ourselves that we are capable. Each step we take, no matter how small, builds momentum and confidence, gradually quieting the voice of doubt. As we take action, we accumulate evidence of our abilities, which in turn strengthens our belief in ourselves. It's also essential to surround ourselves with supportive, positive influences. The people we spend time with play a significant role in shaping our mindset. If we are constantly surrounded by individuals who encourage us, believe in us, and challenge us to grow, their positive influence will help us overcome our doubts. Conversely, if we are surrounded by negative, discouraging voices, our doubts will only be amplified. By intentionally choosing who we allow into our lives, we create an environment where doubt has less room to thrive. Doubt is a natural, but manageable part of life. It will always be there, lurking in the background, but it doesn't have to control us. By cultivating clarity, faith, and action, we can overcome doubt and move forward with confidence toward the life we desire. Faith, in its deepest sense, is the foundation upon which we build not only our dreams, but also our resilience in the face of life's inevitable challenges. It is often misunderstood as a passive belief that everything will simply work out, but true faith is far more dynamic. It is an active force that propels us forward, even in the absence of visible evidence, and motivates us to continue when doubt and fear threaten to overwhelm us. Faith isn't simply about believing in something greater than ourselves, it's about believing in our ability to navigate the complexities of life and trust that, through perseverance and action, we can shape our destiny. At its core, faith is trust. It's the trust that, despite the uncertainties we face, the effort we put in will yield results, even if we can't immediately see how or when. Faith is not the absence of doubt, rather. It is the ability to move forward despite doubt. It's the conviction that we are capable of overcoming obstacles, learning from failures, and eventually reaching our desired goals. Faith is what allows us to take the first step, even when the path is unclear. Without it, we would remain stagnant, waiting for a guarantee that everything will go according to plan. But that guarantee never comes. Faith requires courage to proceed without knowing exactly what lies ahead. True faith is also a commitment to the process, not just the outcome. Many people think of faith as something tied to specific results, but in reality, faith is more about trusting the journey. This means embracing the idea that the process, with its ups and downs, is just as valuable as the destination. When we have faith, we trust that every challenge we face, every setback we encounter, and every moment of doubt is part of a larger, unfolding purpose. We understand that growth is rarely linear, and that every experience, whether good or bad, is an opportunity for learning and improvement. Faith helps us accept the uncertainties along the way, knowing that they are an integral part of our development. One of the most powerful aspects of faith is its ability to transform fear into action. Fear and faith are often seen as opposing forces, but in reality they coexist in the human experience. Fear arises when we face the unknown, the unfamiliar, or when we step outside our comfort zones. It can paralyze us, preventing us from taking the necessary steps to achieve our goals. However, faith provides the antidote to fear. Faith allows us to acknowledge our fear without being controlled by it. It helps us recognize that fear is a natural emotion, but does not have to dictate our behavior. By relying on faith, we gain the courage to take action, even when fear tells us to retreat. It's through these courageous actions that we begin to break free from the paralyzing grip of fear and move toward the life we desire. Faith also requires self-belief, the understanding that we are worthy of success and capable of achieving our goals. Without self-faith, external circumstances will always seem more powerful than our own abilities. This self-belief does not stem from arrogance, but from a deep understanding of our strengths, talents, and potential. When we have faith in ourselves, we acknowledge that we are equipped to handle whatever life throws at us. This doesn't mean we expect everything to be easy or that we believe in a life free from struggle. Instead, it's about knowing that we are resilient enough to face challenges and adaptable enough to learn and grow from them. One of the greatest obstacles to cultivating faith is the tendency to focus on external validation, waiting for someone else to tell us we're capable, worthy, or talented enough to pursue our goals. This reliance on external validation weakens our ability to trust ourselves and our own judgment. True faith comes from within. It's about learning to believe in our own vision, even when no one else can see it. The moment we stop waiting for external approval and start trusting our internal compass, we begin to take ownership of our journey and move forward with purpose and clarity. Faith is also deeply tied to perseverance. The road to achieving anything meaningful is rarely smooth or easy. There will be setbacks, challenges, and moments of doubt, but faith gives us the strength to keep going in spite of these difficulties. Perseverance is the outward expression of faith in action. It's the decision to keep going when the odds seem stacked against us and when the results aren't immediately apparent. Faith reminds us that the effort we put in is never wasted, even when we don't see immediate returns. It teaches us that success is often the result of cumulative effort over time, and that consistency, even in small doses, compounds to produce significant results. An essential aspect of faith is its ability to empower us to make bold decisions. When we have faith in our vision and in ourselves, we stop playing it safe. We stop waiting for perfect conditions or guaranteed outcomes. Faith encourages us to take risks, to step out of our comfort zones, and to pursue our goals with vigor and passion. Without faith, we might hesitate to make decisions, fearing failure or rejection. But with faith, we see those same challenges as opportunities to grow, learn, and ultimately succeed. Faith is also deeply intertwined with hope. While hope is often seen as a passive longing for a better future, faith is the active pursuit of that future, grounded in the belief that we have the ability to shape it. Faith moves us beyond wishful thinking and into deliberate action. It encourages us to set goals, take steps toward them, and stay committed to the journey, even when things get tough. With faith, hope is no longer something we wait for, it becomes something we create through our actions and perseverance. It's important to understand that faith is a choice. While doubt often arises unbidden, faith is something we must actively choose. It's a decision to trust, even when circumstances are uncertain, and to believe in possibilities beyond our immediate reality. Faith does not require us to have all the answers or to know exactly how things will unfold. It simply asks that we trust the process, trust ourselves, and trust that, in time, our efforts will bear fruit. To bring about any meaningful change in our lives, it's not enough to simply believe or think differently. We must also act. Action is the bridge between our thoughts, beliefs, and the reality we wish to create. Many people, at some point in their lives, have a vision for what they want to achieve, but they never take the necessary steps to make it happen. Without action, even the best ideas remain abstract, and the most inspiring dreams remain unfulfilled. The act of moving forward, even in small steps, is essential to transforming our thoughts into tangible results. Action grounds belief into reality. When we take consistent steps toward our goals, we begin to see evidence of our abilities, which reinforces our belief in ourselves. A critical element here is that action fosters a feedback loop. The more we act, the more we learn, and the more we learn, the better we become at taking more effective action, It's through trial, error, and refinement that our confidence grows. If we merely sit back and wait for the right conditions, or for everything to be perfect before we act, we delay our growth. There will always be uncertainty and imperfections along the way, but it's through action that we begin to see the results of our efforts. The act of doing something is the first tangible step in manifesting the change we seek. One of the biggest hurdles to action is fear of failure. Many people hesitate to take action because they are afraid of making mistakes, facing rejection, or not achieving their desired outcome. However, failure is not the end, it is a necessary part of the learning process. Failure is not a reflection of our worth or ability, rather, it is simply feedback that we can use to improve. Every failure carries with it valuable lessons about what works and what doesn't. By reframing failure as an essential step toward mastery, we can move past the paralyzing fear of it and embrace action with more courage. It's important to remember that success is often built upon the foundation of many failures, and each misstep provides an opportunity to refine our approach and come back stronger. Taking action also requires discipline and consistency. It's easy to feel motivated and inspired to act when the vision is clear and the initial excitement is high, but the real challenge lies in maintaining that momentum over time. Whether our goals are personal, professional, or spiritual, sustained action is what leads to long-term success. Discipline is the ability to take action consistently, regardless of whether we feel motivated or not. This doesn't mean forcing ourselves to do things we despise, but it does mean building the habit of showing up and putting in the work, even when the enthusiasm wanes. Over time, these small, consistent efforts compound and lead to significant progress. Another key aspect of action is intentionality. It's not just about doing something, it's about doing the right things that align with our goals and values. Mindless action, while it may keep us busy, does not necessarily move us toward our desired outcome. Instead, we must act with purpose, clarity, and direction. Every action we take should be a deliberate step toward our vision, not a reaction to the distractions or pressures of the moment. Intentional action means being proactive rather than reactive, choosing to focus on what truly matters rather than getting caught up in short-term distractions. This kind of focused action helps to keep us aligned with our long-term goals and ensures that we're not simply spinning our wheels in the face of everyday challenges. It's important to recognize that action is not always linear. There will be times when the path to our goals feels unclear, and we may face detours or obstacles. This is where flexibility becomes important. When we encounter setbacks, we can choose to either give up or adjust our approach. Often, the ability to adapt and continue taking action, even when the original plan isn't working, is what separates those who succeed from those who fail. The ability to pivot, reassess, and take action from a new angle is a sign of resilience and perseverance. Success is rarely a straight line, and the willingness to stay in motion, regardless of the hurdles, is essential for growth. Action is also deeply connected to the concept of momentum. Once we start moving, even in small ways, we create energy that propels us forward. This momentum can build over time, pushing us toward bigger goals and greater achievements. One of the easiest ways to overcome inertia is by committing to small, manageable tasks that can be completed quickly. Small wins breed confidence, and the sense of accomplishment from completing a task, no matter how small, fuels the drive to keep going. This momentum is what carries us through when we face challenges, and it creates a sense of progress that makes us feel that success is not only possible but within our reach. Action involves embracing discomfort and uncertainty. We tend to be creatures of comfort, preferring to stay within the bounds of what feels safe and familiar. But growth lies outside of our comfort zones. The discomfort of trying something new, taking risks, or challenging ourselves is part of the process of personal development. Without action, we remain stuck in the same place, unable to experience new opportunities or learn from new challenges. Action forces us to confront the unknown, and through doing so, we expand our boundaries and grow into the person capable of achieving the life we desire. At times, action requires us to overcome procrastination. Procrastination is often a response to the overwhelm we feel when faced with large tasks or high expectations. It's easy to become paralyzed by the size of a goal, and the thought of accomplishing everything at once can feel too daunting. However, taking action, even if it's just a small step, breaks the cycle of procrastination. This initial movement is often all it takes to get the ball rolling. Once we begin, momentum builds, and the overwhelming task becomes more manageable. Procrastination thrives in inaction, but when we start moving, it loses its grip on us. Action also brings clarity. It's easy to remain uncertain when we're caught in the planning phase or stuck in analysis paralysis. We may worry about making the wrong decision or taking the wrong step. But the truth is, action often reveals more than planning ever could. The process of doing something gives us feedback, shows us what works and what doesn't, and helps us refine our approach. This clarity comes only through action, as it forces us to confront reality rather than stay in the realm of theory or speculation.